Yeah, it's August 21st, and we're in southern Illinois. This is Fig and Fruit Nursery and Orchard, and we're in the outside unprotected fig orchard. It's on a southeast facing slope. This is the lower row, and the tree we're looking at, or was looking at, here is Hardy Chicago. And you can see it's starting to ripen some fruit. Still not there. Probably tomorrow or the next day. Not quite ripe enough. As you can see here also, down here toward the base, it don't really completely grow back, die all the way back. So that makes it better. I do prune these back pretty heavy to about right here, and then I just take some old grass and throw up there like that and wish them good luck. That's about the extent of the protection that they get. But you can see it's got several figs on it starting to ripen. There's a couple more. They'll be ready. I don't like that being so low, but that's just the way it growed. And we'll go on down through the orchard here and see what other trees are getting right. This next one is a Black Greek Marius, and this is a good example why you don't. I don't recommend doing this with 1 gallons, because that's what this is. It's been in the ground a couple. Last season I think I planted it. So they just don't get near as developed, and they're not near as hardy. If you put these things in a 5 gallon and grow them out for about 3 years before you put them out here unprotected, that is definitely gonna make them a lot hardier, and they'll do a lot better. This is Salem Dark. It's got some on it, hasn't started yet. Leaves on down through here. Don't look like the Owensboro made it. Looks like it has died, and so as whatever was here. Silicidoids, it died, unfortunately. This next one is Plainfield. It's another Mount Etna variety. It's got quite a few figs on it, but it hasn't began to ripen anything. Here's one that's ripening some. This is the Traces Place. And I bet, nope, come over here about this one here. I believe that one's ripe. It's not a real big fig from dieback. As you can see, let's open it up. It looks tasty. I don't have one of these potted. I just stuck this one in the ground. Has some real nice flavor. And it's real dry right now, so that's just perfect. It's got a lot of flavor. Part of it's in the skin and part of it's in the pulp. It's sweet. That might be, I wonder how they would hold up in the refrigerator. Be a good question. I probably ought to get one of these and turn an air layer into it and get me a potted version of this and put it in the greenhouse at least. Maybe we'll consider it to even go in the ground in the greenhouse. I don't know. It is pretty good. Traces Place, very early. And as you can see, it survives out here unprotected. So let's walk on down and see what else. I don't think that one's, no. The rest of them ain't quite ready, so let's go see what else we can find. This next one here is Super Red Hybrant. It's got 1 fig on it. It ain't done very good outside unprotected. It's kind of struggled. Doesn't seem to be its thing. This next one is Pellegrino. It usually ripens every season. And you can see it's got some figs on it. So we'll see how it does. Got some that should start ripening. I don't know when. I did not get out here and see when things really kind of set. This next one is let's have a look here. This is a Celeste of some sorts. It's got figs on it, but it has not began to ripen anything at this point. Here's another one that's got some good sized figs on it. This is Osborne Prolific. These things don't tend to, none of them out here from dieback seem to fruit real heavy, which they do. This next one here is Tingo de Mayo, and it's got quite a bit of fruit on it, you know, in comparison to some of these others. And it'll ripen at least part of the crop on here. As long as we don't get a frost by the 1st of October, we'll get some fruit off of it. Because usually this one and the Osborne Prolific both will ripen around the 15th of October here. Already Chicago's definitely earlier. This here is Ron de Bordeaux. I have some hope that it is going to get us some figs ripened, because it's such a short season fig tree. This has been one of its better seasons out here in the ground, so I have some hope that it will get better as time goes on. We're going to plant one of these at my mom's, where that big hardy Chicago's at. We're going to plant one of these down there as well, to give her another variety. Now let's ease on down through here. My Violet de Bordeaux died, and it was the Dwarf version. It didn't do well here. This next one is Attiano. I have not ever got it to ripen any, but I believe at some point we'll get to try this one this year. We'll make a video of it. This is the first year I've got any fruit out here off of it, so it's starting to mature. It looks like it didn't quite, it looks like it come back from a stump, so it didn't quite come up out of the ground. So this year it just maybe was a little better. This next one is Teramo. It's getting ready to start ripening. See how them are kind of look like they're trying to change a little bit of color. So I'd say this one here will be ripening pretty soon. Row number 2. This is LSU Scots Yellow, and I got this particular tree from Garden Crochet some years back. I have another Scots Yellow that I got that I know that it's not correct, because it's the same as my Holly, LSU Holly, and they should not be there. These two are supposed to be different figs, so we'll see what this looks like. This one definitely does not have the same leaf pattern as my LSU Holly, or Hollier, however you want to say it. So we'll definitely come back and kind of continue to monitor this and see what, because I believe this is going to ripen this season. This next one is Sultane. Maybe we'll get a fig or two off of it this year. It'll be another month. It's definitely a good fig in the pot, and I'm definitely going to put one of these in a greenhouse. The skin has a lot of flavor on Sultane. So it looks like the Sapporo Black and the Apple Pie both died, and the next one is a long yellow, and that's not yellow long neck, long yellow. They are different. This one don't get as big, and it does generally ripen. It don't get a lot of figs on it, but it will generally ripen back and it grows kind of from a stump. This next one is a brown turkey of some sorts, and it's got some figs on it. It looks more like a Celeste. We'll see. If I remember last year, I believe it was more like a Celeste than it was a brown turkey. But, I mean, they're kind of close anyway. This next one is white Marseille. And I have not, it's just now getting some double bumps on it. It hasn't been fruiting well here. I've yet to get any fruit. I've got fruit off of it in a pot, but not here in ground. This next one is a hardy Chicago. Was a 1 gallon that got planted last year, and as you can see, they're not as prolific. You need to keep them. I don't know. We'll see. It'll probably end up one winter if it don't really take off. It'll die if it don't put some more on. The Cavalieri has died. And the Daloso has died. This is Mario's Verdone. It's kind of an Adriatic, and it will ripen all these figs usually. This is a good fig. Cold hardy, and it ripens in plenty of time. Won't be long it'll get started. And so does this one. This one will surprisingly ripen out here too. This is Valade Salice, which is also like Nord de Barbentane. But it typically ripens, and it typically ripen all of them. This next one is Dead Cat 7. And it ain't got no figs on it for some reason this year. It's getting some double bumps on it, but for some reason this year it was just wanted to grow. I have gotten some figs off of it in past seasons, but don't look like that's going to happen this year. This mysteriously not here anymore is Negra Diagde. Gone. Died. Didn't make it. Texas BA1. I have not had much luck in this. I've had like 1 or 2 pieces of fruit in about 5 years, even off my potted trees. I've not had much luck getting these things to fruit for me, even in the pots. So this is, I bought this as Drop of Gold from Joe Morrill out, I don't know, he was even Connecticut. It had a nursery. He just sold about 6 or 8 varieties. This is one of the varieties that he sold as Legata del Oro, aka Drop of Gold. It's also the same as Alma, after speaking to Ross Ratty about it. It does not like to fruit unless it has 2 and 3 year old wood. Generally, if it dies back, it will not fruit. I have yet to get any fruit from it, letting it die back. But if you've seen a video of the Hardy Chicago, the name of the video is "This is what happens when you protect your trees." There is a pink honey version of this in my mom's yard, and it has figs on it that it's going to ripen, but it's got some 2 year old wood on it. It has been protected, so it makes a big difference for some of these trees that you've got to protect them. Some of them you don't. LSU Purple, no figs. Here's one that's not willing to give up. This is a Black Greek. You can see where it died back, but this was just a 2 gallon pot. I still think you need a good 5 gallons rooted out. And really, even if you root out a 10 gallon would even be better if you're going to put them out here unprotected. Them bigger ones down there, that's what those biggest trees that I have that we was looking at were all 10 gallon trees before they were put in the ground. This is Spotiphoria Dark. Looks like it's got some nice fruit set. Some Mount Etna type. I'd say within the next 2 weeks it'll get rolling and start putting out some figs. Emmeline's Purple. That's a tasty fig, but it didn't survive here. And it was in a 3-gallon. Here's another one that was in a 3-gallon Florea. I've tried, this is like the 3rd time I've planted a 5-gallon Florea that has not survived here. Here's a Naples Yellow. May also be the same as Atriana. It didn't fruit this year. It's starting to get some double bumps on it, but in the past I've gotten some ripe fruit off this Naples Yellow out here, but it ain't gonna fruit this year. It was just a little late getting going, and that really affected it. This next one is LSU Hollier, or Ollier, however you want to say it. You'll notice that it does not have any fruit set on it. This was a 7-gallon tree. So, and you notice that Scotch Yellow down there, it did at least have a few pieces of fruit on it. This next one is Monroe Yellow. And it's got some figs on it. Haven't never had one. It'll be interesting to try it. Looked like that tree had a little bit of fig mite on it, some fig mites on that one branch. This is LSU Tiger. I typically get a few figs off of it, but we're not going to get very many this year. But it does harden off fairly well. One thing I like about LSU Tiger. This next one is LSU Champagne. It has fruited in past seasons. This year it's not. One of those things, you know, the champagne seems like it can be that way sometimes. I've had a season or two in my 10-gallon pot in the last 8 years that we didn't get hardly any fruit, sometimes none. So it don't tend to like the hard pruning. The next one is LSU Scots Black. Too spraggly from a shoot. Ain't fruiting nothing. And I don't do nothing out here at all with these trees except mow around them. You can thank my wife for weeding around them. This is a deal where I wanted to just throw them out here and see what would happen. Now here's one that we'll get some figs off of, and they'll be good if it don't rain. This is supposed to be a long out. That's what it's supposed to be. I've had it for a number of years, and it does fruit right along with my Pellegrino usually. And this tree has gotten better every year outside. So there it is. And the next one is Parline Cream. And we will get a couple of these fruit will ripen late. They did last year. It's a honey fig, and by the time it ripens, I think it would be better if it ripened in August instead of October. And the last one down here is a cherry pie. My potted ones, how they keep dropping. I don't know yet. I've had some other varieties that would drop for 3 or 4 years before they would start holding the fruit. So it's starting. This one here starting to set fruit, but it's way too late now to be just setting fruit to get anything off of it here. But well, there's the rest of the orchard and what it's looking like and what it's doing. You really, if you're going to be in zone 7, buy a greenhouse. Get on Marketplace and just buy a greenhouse. And I know everybody can't do that, But these things need a head start, and they'll just be way more productive if you don't let them die back every year. But I still want to try to find varieties, and as varieties die out here, I'm going to pick out other varieties that I've got to put out here and see how they do. But I'm definitely going to make sure that they're growed out very well rooted, at least in a 7-gallon, before I put them out here from now on, because them ones that are just little and spraggly, they may never really get established and do much, or it may take so long that, you know, it makes the variety uninteresting to try. And I want to give everybody a good fair chance, because you see these trees that are bigger, they're all 7 and 10 gallon, well rooted out, 3 or 4 years in a 7 or 10 gallon pot. And some of these others are 5s and 7s. The Scots Yellow was a 7, and it's not huge. But those 10 gallons were really, really full. So they've just done really well here. And even that RDB over there, it was a 7, and it has actually gotten bigger and better every year so far. So, and then of course, like I said, we don't water, so a lot of my growth out here depends on how much rain we get in a season. And up until the last month, it has been a wet summer. So I've just now been able to get some dirt work done I needed to get done around here, because it's just been too wet. So, but here, there's our look of this outside fig orchard, and what varieties seem to work here, and what varieties are not doing so well. Just let them go. So, thanks for watching.